You are waiting to earn more to start saving money. You're waiting for that raise, that promotion, that magical moment where you'll finally have enough left over to really invest. Lie you tell yourself. The brutal truth is this: if you can't save $1,000 now, you won't be able to save $100,000 ever. Not because it is mathematically impossible, but because you are psychologically incapable. The problem is not the quantity. It never was. The problem is who you are when you have money available. And that doesn't change because the number in the account got bigger. In fact, it gets worse. Let me tell you something that Charlie Munger would say, looking straight into your eyes. Your inability to save $1,000 is not an income problem. It's a character problem. It's weakness disguised as a circumstance. It's a lack of discipline that you romanticize as enjoying life. Small values reveal you. How you handle $1,000 shows, with surgical precision, how you will handle whatever amount comes after it. It's an X-ray of your financial psychology, and for 95% of people, what is revealed is pathetic. You might be making $2,000 or $20,000 a month. It doesn't matter. If you can't get into the habit of saving when the numbers are small, you won't magically develop that habit when the numbers are big. You will only spend more, in more expensive things, and remain equally broken. The math of wealth starts with $1,000, not with $100,000, not with $1 million. With the first 1,000 measly dollars, you can or cannot keep out of your impulsive hands. What if you can't do that? You already lost. The rest is just theater. It's you pretending that one day you will change, while repeating the same self-destructive patterns until you die poor and confused about where you went wrong. When I worked analyzing financial behavior, I had access to thousands of accounts. I could see patterns. And the clearest, most predictable, most depressing pattern was this: no matter how much a person earned, they spent it in exact proportion. Did you earn $2,000? I spent $2,000. Did you earn $5,000? I spent $5,000. Did you make $10,000? I spent $10,000 and still created creative ways to spend more through credit. The inability to save $1,000 wasn't about not having $1,000. It was about being the kind of person who, when you have $1,000, finds $1,001 worth of things to buy. You think your problem is income. It is not. Your problem is that you are a walking psychological disaster with zero impulse control. And until you admit this, you will remain poor regardless of how much you earn. Let me show you exactly how you sabotage yourself. First, you treat $1,000 as an irrelevant amount. It's only $1,000, it won't make a difference. This phrase alone guarantees that you will never have 100,000, because 100,000 is built 1,000 at a time. If you despise brick, you will never build a house. You look at $1,000 and see insignificance. Rich people look at $1,000 and see the beginning of something bigger. Second, you don't have a system, you have intentions. I'm going to start saving this month. This time it will be different. I need to organize myself better. Blah, blah, blah. Intention is worthless. System is worth everything. And you don't have a system because deep down you don't want to save. You want to spend and feel good about it. So it creates the illusion that it will change without ever creating a real structure for change to happen. Third, you wait until you have leftovers to save. Fatal error. Money is never left over. Never. Because your expenses expand to consume exactly how much you earn, no matter how much it is. You need to save first and live with what's left. But this requires planning, discipline, sacrifice. So you do the opposite. Live first and save with what's left, which is zero, always zero. Fourth, you mistake small indulgences for irrelevance. It's just a coffee. It's just an app. It's just an Uber. Individually, irrelevant. Collectively, it's the reason you're broke. $5 here, 10 there, 20 there. At the end of the month, there are $500, $800 that evaporated in micro decisions that you don't even remember making. But he remembers perfectly well that he can't save $1,000. Fifth, you use emergencies as an excuse. I had to spend it, it was an emergency. There's always an emergency. There will always be. Car breaks down, people get sick. Things happen. But for you, every emergency justifies spending everything, including what you don't have. You use exception as a rule. And then you're surprised that it never leaves the place. Sixth, you believe that more income solves the problem. When I earn more, then I'll be able to save it. It won't. I know people earning $20,000 a month who can't save $1,000. I know others earning $2,000 who save $500 religiously. The difference is not income, it's character. It's discipline. It's the ability to say no to yourself. And you don't have it. Saw people lose promotions, bonuses, inheritances because they didn't have the basic habit of saving. The money arrived, evaporated, and they were left wondering where it went. Where did it go? It was where it always goes when you're undisciplined. It dissolved into 1,000 little stupid decisions that seemed harmless at the time. You were like a leaky bucket. You can throw a liter or 1,000 liters, the result is the same, empty. Because the problem is not how much comes in, it's just that you can't hold anything that comes in. And the most pathetic? You think this is normal? He looks around, sees everyone equally broken, and feels validated. Everyone is like that. Yes, and everyone will die poor too. Congratulations on being part of this statistic. $1,000 is a battlefield. It's not about the money, it's about you versus yourself. It's your rational self fighting your impulsive self. And your impulsive self is winning by a landslide. When you look at $1,000 in the bill, a war instantly starts in your brain. On one side is the logic. Keep this, it's the beginning, it's the foundation. On the other side is the impulse. Buy what you want. You deserve it. You work hard. And impulse wins, always wins, because it's louder, more emotional, more immediate. Logic is whisper. The impulse is scream. You take the $1,000 and mentally distribute it to 15 different places. 300 for that thing you've wanted for a long time. 200 to fix something that could wait. 100 to go out on the weekend. And so it goes until $1,000 turns to zero faster than you can enter your bank password. But people who get rich, they also feel the impulse. They are not robots. The difference is that they have a system to win the war. They have inflexible rules. First I keep, then I live. 10% is untouchable no matter what. If I can't buy cash, I can't buy. You have no rules. There are suggestions that you yourself don't follow. He has good intentions that evaporate at the first temptation. There are plans that you abandon at the first difficulty, and $1,000 becomes the ultimate test. If you can't win this war when the numbers are small, you won't when the numbers are large, because war doesn't get easier, it gets harder. The temptations become greater, the justifications become more sophisticated, social pressure becomes more intense. When I started saving seriously, I made a rule. The first 15% of any money that came in went straight to investing, automatically, without thinking. No negotiating with myself. The first few months were total war. I saw money coming in and going out immediately. He was pissed. I wanted to move. I wanted just this once to do something different. But I had promised myself a year without moving, no matter what. It was the most important year of my financial life. Not because of the money I accumulated, it wasn't much, but because of the habit I created, by the standard I set, for proving to myself that I was capable of discipline when it mattered. Today, I don't even think about it. It's automatic. Money comes in, percentage goes out for investment, I live on the rest. No drama, no negotiation, no war. Because the war was won years ago when I proved to myself that I could save $1,000 without spending it. You don't have that. You're losing the war every month. And calling this defeat living life, it's pathetic. The most dangerous phrase in personal finance is, when I earn more, then I'll save it. Lie. Pure statistics show that you won't. Do you know what happens when you earn more? Your expenses automatically increase. It's a psychological phenomenon called lifestyle inflation. And it's so predictable that it borders on comical if it weren't tragic. You get a 20% raise. It becomes euphoric. Think, now I'm going to save it. And what do? Move to a slightly better apartment. Buy a slightly newer car, eat in slightly more expensive places, buy slightly better clothes. 6 months later, he is in the same place as before, spending everything he earns, saving nothing. But now, with more pressure because your obligations have increased along with your income, I've seen this happen dozens of times. People doubling their income and still broke, triple your income and still don't have $1,000 saved. Because the problem was never quantity, it was always character. If you can't live on 90% of what you earn when you earn little, you won't be able to when you earn a lot. You will only spend 90% of a larger number. The percentage remains. The disability remains. Here's the brutal truth. You need to learn to save now with what you have now, no matter how little it is, because it's the only moment that exists. When I earn more is fantasy. It's postponement. It's cowardice disguised as planning. Do you have $1,000 of income? Save 100. It does not have. Keep 50. It does not have. Keep 10. The value does not matter as much as habit. The habit of being the type of person who saves before spending, the habit of prioritizing the future over the present, the habit of doing the right thing even when it is uncomfortable. But you're not going to do that, are you? You'll keep waiting for the magic moment, the moment that never comes, the moment where you finally have enough to start. Newsflash, it's never enough. It will never be. Because enough is not an absolute number. It is a mental habit, and you don't have the habit. $1,000 is a test. It's the universe asking, do you have what it takes? It's a test of discipline. Can you see money available and not spend it? It's a vision test. Can you value the future more than the present? It's a test of maturity. Can you delay gratification? It's a test of character. Do you do the right thing when no one is looking? And you are failing miserably Every month that passes without you saving $1,000 is a failure. It's you failing the most basic test of financial competence. It's you proving that you don't have the minimum necessary to win the game of wealth. But I have bills. Everyone has it. But I have a family. A lot of people do. But my situation is special. It is not. You just think it's because you need an excuse for your incompetence. I saw people in objectively worse situations than yours saving money. I saw immigrants earning minimum wage, religiously saving 15%. I saw people with chronic illnesses, with children to support, with debts to pay, finding a way to save money. The difference was not circumstance. It was a priority. They decided that saving was non-negotiable. You have decided that everything is more important than saving. And then you're surprised that you don't have anything saved. The $1,000 test is not about having $1,000. It's about being the kind of person who, when you have $1,000, doesn't spend it. It's about developing the psychological muscle that allows you to accumulate. It's about proving to yourself that you can do it. And until you pass this test, everything else is talk. You can read 1,000 finance books. You can watch 1,000 videos. You can take 1,000 courses. It won't change anything if you can't save $1,000, because knowledge is not the problem. Execution is the problem. And you're terrible at executing. Compound interest is the most powerful force in the financial universe. But it only works if you power the machine, and you're not feeding. You're looking at the machine, marveling at the concept, and leaving it off. $1,000 invested at 25, with an 8% return, turned into more than 10,000 at 55. 10,000 turned into 100,000. 100,000 turned into 1,000,000. It's mathematics. It's predictable. It's guaranteed. But only if you start. Only if you put in the first 1,000. Only if you don't move. Only if you add more when you can. You're not doing any of that. You're waiting to have real money to start. Meanwhile, time, the most powerful variable in the equation, is evaporating. Every year you don't start as future wealth, you are burning. The snowball needs to start small. You need to start with a ridiculous $1,000 that seem irrelevant. Because in the first few years, growth is really pathetic. 1,000 becomes 1,080. 1,080 becomes 1,166. It seems like a joke. But after 10 years, 1,000 became more than 2,000. After 20, almost 5,000. After 30, more than 10,000. And that's without you adding a penny. But you won't see that. Because you won't start. You'll keep waiting. And in 30 years, you'll be exactly where you are now, only older, more tired, more bitter. The snowball that could have freed you will never roll. Because you didn't have the discipline to make the ball. He stood there at the base of the mountain, looking at a handful of snow, thinking it wasn't worth starting. But what if there's an emergency, you ask? I need an emergency fund before I invest. Right, and how much is your emergency fund? 0? So you don't have an investment problem. You have trouble saving any amount for any purpose. The emergency excuse is brilliant because it is irrefutable. Emergencies exist. They are real. They happen. But you use emergencies as a justification for never saving anything. Use exceptions as rules. Here's what financially competent people do. Save for emergencies and for investment. Simultaneously. Because they understand that the future has two sides. The immediate future that may have problems and the distant future that will have you, old man needing money. You? Don't hold back for either of them. Use the excuse of one to not do the other, and it ends up completely exposed on all fronts. If you really cared about emergencies, you would have an emergency fund. It does not have. If you really cared about the future, you would have investments. It does not have. You don't care about anything except immediate gratification in disguise, that of urgent need. When a real emergency happens, and it will happen, you'll be fucked. You're going to take out a loan. You will pay absurd interest. It will sink more. And you will blame the universe for a situation that you actively created by not having the discipline to save 1,000 measly dollars. When I was in my early 20s, I met a guy who changed my life. He was not rich in inheritance, no luck. He was just someone who understood something fundamental that I didn't understand. One day I complained to him that I couldn't save money. There was always something. I always needed something. He looked at me with that look of someone who is deciding whether you are worth the effort or not. How much do you earn? He asked. I said the value. Can you live on 10% less? I guess so, but there's no but. Can you or can't you? With you. So you don't have an income problem, you have a will problem. Tomorrow you go to the bank and set up an automatic transfer of 10% to a separate account. On the day your salary drops, automatically. Without thinking, without negotiating, for a year. If after a year you want to stop, stop. But for a year you do it. I did. It was one of the hardest and most important things I've ever done. The first months were war. I saw the money being transferred and it physically hurt. I wanted to cancel. I wanted to just this once skip a month. I didn't jump. And at the end of the year, I had more money saved than I had ever had in my life. It wasn't much, but it was mine. It was real. It was proof that I was capable. That guy is dead now, but what he taught me lives on. And the lesson was simple. You don't start when you have a lot. It starts when you have little, because getting started is the only real challenge. The rest is just repeating. So here's the final truth. No kindness, no excuses. If you can't save $1,000, you'll never save 100,000. Not because it's impossible, but because you are incapable. The problem is not income. It's not a circumstance. It's not luck. And you. It's your lack of discipline. It's your inability to delay gratification. It's his character weakness disguised as enjoying life. $1,000 is a test, and you are failing, month after month, year after year. And every time you fail, you're choosing poverty, actively, consciously, no valid excuse. You can change this today, now. Configure automatic transfer, 10%. It doesn't matter where. It could be a savings account, it could be an investment, it could be under the mattress. The important thing is to create the habit of saving before spending. But you're not going to do that, are you? You'll read this far, agree with everything, feel a momentary impetus, and tomorrow you'll be doing exactly the same shit you've always done. Because it's easier to have excuses than to have discipline. It's more comfortable to blame the system than to fix yourself. It's simpler to pretend you're going to do it when you earn more than to do it now with what you have. And in 10 years, you'll be in the same place, or worse. Still no $1,000 saved. Still with the same excuses. Still waiting for the magical moment that never comes. Unless you change. Today, not tomorrow, not Monday. Today. You have two options. Option one, stay who you are. You can't save 1,000, you won't be able to save 100,000. Die poor blaming everyone except the person responsible. You. Option two, you stop lying to yourself, admit that the problem is not circumstance, it is character, and start building the necessary character by saving $1,000, then 1,000 more, then more, until one day you look and there are 100,000, 200,000, enough to have options. The choice seems simple. It is not, because it requires you to be brutally honest with yourself. And honesty is the rarest thing in the world of personal finance. Everyone lies, for others, for themselves. I can't keep it. Lie. Don't want to save it. There's no left. Lie. You spend it all before trying to save it. My situation's different. Lie. You're exactly like the other 95% who die poor. The truth? You can save $1,000. You can do it, and you know it. You just need to want more than you want to spend. You just need to value the future more than the present. You just need to be disciplined long enough to form a habit. But discipline hurts, and you prefer comfort. So choose comfort every day and call that choice impossibility. It's dishonest. It's cowardly. It is a guarantee of poverty. The $1,000 are there, waiting. Not for you to earn, for you to save from what you already earn. The difference is everything. And when you're old, broken, regretful, wondering how things could have been different, remember this moment. Remember you knew. Remember you could. Remember what you chose not to do. Or prove me wrong. Save $1,000, just that. 1,000 measly dollars without moving for 6 months. If you can't do this, accept that you will never get rich. Not because the universe is unfair, but because you don't have the minimum necessary to win. And in that case, at least have the dignity to stop complaining. You chose this, consciously, every day. Live with your choice, or change, now.